Hi, Cooper Glover, 1972, back with another video. Book collection number 7, the video, film books, back to film books. So I'm seated on the couch because maybe I wrenched my back or something. I took the previous box back upstairs to the attic. It was a big box. I decided to take the box up separately, empty, and then bring the books up bit by bit and then put them in the box. So I might have pulled, I don't know, maybe, I don't know if I pulled a muscle, but my back hurt when I was doing the dishes. So, anyways, I brought down another box, and maybe it's a better setup this way because I can get to these books easy. I can put them back into the box where they're the way they're supposed to be, the way they fit right, because they're stacked up a certain way. So, well, anyways, let's get to the video. So, in no particular order, first off, we've got Hollywell's Film Goers and Video Viewers Companion, edited by John Walker. Looks like it's kind of a dictionary here of people's names. Yeah, there's people's names in here. Francois Truffaut, George Romero. Who else is in here? The Marx Brothers. So I don't know. I just picked it up. This next one is about Fassbinder. Looks interesting. I haven't read it. The Anarchy of the Imagination: Interviews, Essays, Notes. Weiner, Werner, Fassbinder. I don't know if I'm pronouncing those German words right. I don't know if you're supposed to say Rainer or Weiner. I think his middle name, Werner, is pronounced Werner, and his last name, I believe, is pronounced Fassbinder. But anyways, it's edited by Michael Totberg and Leo A. Lenzing, translated by Krishna Winston. So, and I have a few of his movies that I showed in my video collection. This next one, this is a book I have read. I read it a while back. It's a autobiography from one of my favorite actors, Brando. Songs My Mother Taught Me. I'd highly recommend this book if you want to know about Marlon Brando, who, what he was like as a person rather than just the actor, like what he thought of things and, what he thought of fame. Like he didn't, like I heard on the Dennis Miller show, Dennis Miller talking to, or maybe John Lovitz was filling in for him. I think John Lovitz was filling in for him, and John Lovitz was talking to Marlon Brando's son. I think his name is Chico Brando, and he said that when Marlon Brando returned home from work, he didn't want to discuss movies. That was the last thing he wanted to do, So this next book is called Movie Makers at Work: Behind the Scenes in the Movie Industry, and mentions some films here. I can't mention them all. They're newer films: Back to the Future, Star Wars, Poltergeist, E.T., Killing Fields, Apocalypse Now, Body Heat, Amadeus, Empire Strikes Back, Rocky, Mosquito Coast, The Mission, Silverado, Saturday Night Fever. I don't know if I'll read all these books, but it's nice having them. Next one is called The Power Filmmaking Kit: Make Your Professional Movie on a Next to Nothing Budget, by Jason J. Tomerick. I don't really, maybe this comes with a CD or something. You know what, there is it's a DVD. So it's just one of those filmmaking books that I have. So it's just cameras. Probably some of this is outdated now, like technology-wise. If but maybe there's some stuff in here that you can still advice you can still use. This is a book I got from the library where I work at. They got rid of it. It's called Filmmakers on Filmmaking. It's interviews with directors. And let me just get to the, oh wait, here we go. So we got people like the pioneers like D.W. Griffith and Charlie Chaplin, Eric von Stroheim, Giga Vertov. And then you got the part 2 with Hitchcock, Tony Richardson, Jean Cocteau, Alain Resnais, Alain Rob Grillet, Louis Buñuel, Ingmar Bergman, Fellini, Antonioni, Lang, Wajda, Sternberg, Wells, Ray, Kurosawa, Lindsay Anderson, Kenneth Anger. So no pictures, just interviews right here. I think it's interviews, or maybe not. I don't know. That's a good book. Next book is just pictures. It's this is one of my favorite movies. La Dolce Vita is my personal favorite of Fellini, but this is close second. It just shows pictures from the movie, the making of the movie. Maybe those are Mitchell cameras that they're using there. I don't know. I don't know if I'm right on that. This one right here, this might be an homage to Salvador Dali's painting three surrealist women holding the skins of an orchestra, because one of them has a bouquet of flowers kind of face, and then it's unbelievable what he did. Saragina on let me try to get this right here. And if you're watching Mike Gray 1951, of course it's Barbara Steele, I believe, so carrying Marcello Mastroianni in the swaddling clothes, if you will. More behind the scenes stuff. I really haven't looked at this book that much. And of course, it's about a film director, and it's sort of like, in a certain sense, an autobiography of Fellini, the mother, the Guido character. So that's enough of that. Let's get to these books. Are the Cambridge film handbooks, or essays on 2 films. I think I've read both of these books. The first one's Ingmar Bergman's Persona, with Lee Volman and Bibi Andersson on the front there. Second one is Alfred Hitchcock's Rear Window. And I don't think there are pictures in these books. No. It's just essays. That's all it is. But I have, like the BFI books, these are good books to read. If you want to read some intellectual stuff about cinema. This I got back when it was a big show in the 80s, the making of Miami Vice. Not really. Oh, you know what? I think there are pictures in this one. Sorry about that. Amongst other things, Miles Davis appeared in one of these episodes. towards the end of his life, Miles Davis was, of course, Crockett. I think that Don Jones character had an alligator pet, and then you had what's his name? Did Hans Zimmer do the music, or am I wrong? Maybe I'm wrong on that. I don't know. I could be wrong. Okay, so next one's film, a montage of theories. 42 filmmakers and critics discuss the art and theory of film. Oh, it's interesting. I didn't even notice this. Edited by Richard Dyer, who would later do a book on Seven for the BFI. And he's on the commentaries on the BFI, I believe. I mean, not on the Seven. The commentaries on the Seven DVD. I'm sorry, not the BFI. But there are some pictures. Well, there were some pictures at the back. I don't know if there's pictures in the front. Yeah, John Ford and Dreyer there. De Sicas, Umberto D, and La Notte by Antonioni. Citizen Kane and Dr. Strangelove. Magician by Bergman and 8.5 by Fellini. So that's that. This book, I'm kind of hesitant to taking it out of the plastic wrap. I have handled it, but it's an old book and it's kind of frail and fragile. But I think it's just pictures. I'll take it out. I'm gonna put it right back in after. It's a book on. I think it came out in the '60s when the film was released. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. It's my favorite Fellini film. La Dolce Vita, the shattering, controversial film that lays bare the corruption and decadence of our times. And of course, that's Anita Ekberg on the front there. Federico Fellini on the back. And I don't know. I mean, I don't think it's behind the scenes stuff. I think it's just pictures from the movie. I can't see, and there's kind of a moldy smell to it. I bought it at a used bookstore, so. But you know what? It looks like the script is in here, so that's kind of cool. But yeah, so that's La Dolce Vita. Of course, with these days, you can read a lot of film stuff off the internet, of course. Some film magazines are starting to, even if they do print on paper, they're also concentrate themselves on the internet. Okay, so next up we got, this book is highly recommended by Stanley Kubrick. If you want to be a filmmaker, he says, read this book. And there's another book written by the same guy. This is a Soviet filmmaker back in the 20s, I believe, Film Technique. And his other book, Film Acting. I think it only has a few pictures. It's a pretty good book. Like Potemkin has this theory, like if you show a person with a blank face and then you show a picture of soup, you'll think that person's hungry. But then if you put a coffin instead, you'll think that person's sad. So, all because the Soviets believed in editing, editing was their big deal. There's a picture there from Mother. I've never seen Mother. And Deserter, I guess, is another film he did. So, and then we go to another Soviet filmmaker who was um, he was um, very um, involved in writing about film. He wrote. He was a very, what I say, prolific. He wrote a lot of film books, or a fair amount of them, and they're pretty important books. I believe they're taught in film class in colleges. And anyways, this one's called Film Essays and a Lecture, and it's edited by Jay Leda. Of course, you got Eisenstein here. I think that's him in Mexico. Yeah, Mexico City. I have a movie of his that I haven't watched called Quo Viva Mexico, when he was now in the Soviet Union, before he went back. And yeah, here's, that's the, oh, wait a minute. This is the, I think, the painting of the Odessa Steps. Is it a painting or photo? Painting, I think. And then, of course, here's the film version of it, and Potemkin, Battleship Potemkin. Oh, I think I showed that picture, did I? Or, oh yeah, and here we go. I don't know where this is. I guess this is in London. You can see Eisenstein. Where is he? Right there. I think that's him right there. If I'm not mistaken. You got another Eisenstein book called Film Sense. I guess some people, benefit from reading books like this, and maybe others don't. Other filmmakers might not need books like these to develop their filmmaking skills, or it's not necessary for them to learn their craft. But film form. And then we got two makeup books, special effects makeup. We got Dick Smith's Do-It-Yourself Monster Makeup, with an introduction by Rick Baker. You got Dick Smith with the Exorcist on the back there. And it's just how to put makeup on, special effects makeup. So this other book's a little more, I guess, a little more interesting, you would say. It's by the way, here's a book that was signed, because I showed him my collection of DVDs and Blu-rays, the ones that were signed. But this one's signed by Tom Savini. It's called Grand Illusions: the Learn by Example Guide to the Art and Technique of Special Makeup Effects from the films of Tom Savini. So you got Creepshow, you got what other films? The Burning. I don't know. Dawn of the Dead's in here, I believe. You got Tom Savini in the back there. I met him at this science fiction convention. And at Halloween, the previous Halloween, I had gone out as a werewolf. But when my father redid the makeup in the hotel room, it didn't come out the way it looked, when I went trick or treating. And yeah, so it was kind of a waste, to be in the contest, because they had people with really good makeup. Uh, like the person that won was the Beast from Beauty and the Beast, the television show. He was made up to look like that. So I think he did Friday the 13th. I think it showed that. Did he do Friday the 13th? Yeah, he did. So that's some pictures right there. So, okay, that's done. Let's see. Now where do we go? Okay, so now we got 24 times a second, films and filmmakers. It's another old book from the library. I think I got it from the library, or maybe it was a book sale. I don't remember. I don't know what this is more. Yeah, so Goodard, Boonwell, I don't know. Anyways, that's 24 times a second. And then you got this book. I think I got with my subscription to Movie Maker 1 year. It's the films of John Cassavetes. I only have one film of John Cassavetes, which is The Killing of a Chinese Bookie. Maybe I should have bought the Criterion box set, but I just had the Chinese Bookie one. So, and I've seen another film he did called what was the name of that movie that he did with his wife Jenna Rollins? A Woman Beyond the Influence, I think it's called, which is not a bad movie. A Woman Under the Influence, it says. That's what it's called, yeah. So, John Cassavetes was an actor as well. He was the husband in Rosemary's Baby. And he did those jobs so he could fund his own independent films, I believe. This next one is called Visionary Film, The American Avant-Garde, 1943 to 78. P. Adams Sidney. So, if you're into movies that are more abstract and off the narrative path, then I guess this book could appeal to you. Well, I just had the pictures a second. Oh, there they are. So, probably not everybody's cup of tea, but, whatever. Pages coming out. This book, yeah, it's published by BFI. I'm not sure if one of my Kubrick books is with us in this box. I'm taking one off the other, from top to bottom, so I'm not sure. But anyways, I mentioned that I had a few BFI books that weren't, because I showed BFI books at the very start of my book collection, and they're small books, they're monograph books, but they made a few books that were larger. One was on 2001, which I haven't shown yet. I don't believe. I didn't show it. This one's on Psycho, and I think I bought the Fellini one, but I'm not positive. So this one's called A Long Hard Look at Psycho by Raymond Durgnat. Looking forward to reading this. I don't know when I'll read it, but this is like, I'd love to read this book. It must be fascinating. A minute analysis of the film. He explores all the elements that make up this remarkable film. About spectatorship, Hollywood narrative codes, psychoanalysis, editing, and shot composition, among other themes that will change the way we analyze cinema. So, and of course, there's pictures, I believe. I mean, or maybe it's just, well, no, there's pictures here and there. I think it's just, if I'm not mistaken, it's just pictures from the movie. So, no behind the scenes. But this should be a fascinating read. This is probably more on the top of the list to read than other ones. I don't know when I'd read this. I've got tons of stuff to look at, read, listen to, but this I would like to read at some point. This is like a, this is just one of those books that are dying to be read, you know. So another book looks compelling too to read. It's called Akira Kurosawa, an Intertextual Cinema by James Goodwin, and it's got a clip on the front from still, I guess, because they didn't pull clips off of the films. I think it's like a publicity photo. I don't know. It's Throne of Blood. It's for me, it's Kurosawa's best film. It's my personal favorite of Kurosawa's, even though I've got other favorites of Kurosawa's like Seventh Samurai, Ikiru, Ron, Yojimbo, I guess Dreams. You know, I guess Rashomon too, and I like The Bad Sleep Well, I guess too. But anyways, Throne of Blood is my personal favorite, and if I had to pick a favorite Japanese film, it's probably Throne of Blood, which is based on Macbeth. And yeah, so, but this is a book on Kurosawa. I have another book on Kurosawa as well, and by Stephen Prince, and I've read neither of those books, but and I also have another book on Kurosawa, written by Kurosawa, which I have read, which I think is called something like an autobiography. There's a clip from Rashomon there. But I think that's Rashomon again there. But it only goes to like maybe Rashomon is the furthest it goes up, and Akira Kurosawa was something like an autobiography. So, but yeah, this should be fascinating reading. Japan, which I love, film, which I love, and one of my favorite films, probably analyzed in here. So, next book I have read, it's pretty good. It's one of my favorite films too. I probably have like 40, 50 favorite films of all time. And I have a top 10 list, sort of. if I have to choose a top 10. But there are other films by those same directors in the top 10 that could replace those films. And then there are other films that are not in the top 10 that could replace those as well. So it's probably 40, 50 films. I don't know. But this is one of my favorite movies. And it's Essays. It's edited by Reed Mercer Art. I don't know how to say that. Publisher of Metafilm. And the four is by Chuck Palahniuk. I hope I'm saying his name right. It's called You Do Not Talk About Fight Club. And at the top it says, I am Jack's completely unauthorized essay collection. So this is worth reading. Really good book. Of course, I read it a while back, so I have a hard time retaining all this information. But this is worth reading. It's a good read. It's like philosophy about it. Philosophy regarding the film, and how it relates to the film, and I don't know, maybe the psychology, and really good book. Really, this is a really good read. Next up, this is about if you want to know how to make low budget features, maybe even shorts for that matter, and you want to know like how these great first timers that turned out to be great directors, or most, it looks like most, if not all, but you wanted to know how they did it and how they managed to make low budget films. It's called Fast, Cheap, and Under Control by John Gaspard. It's the Michael Weiss books. These Michael Weiss books are fantastic. They have a lot of filmmaking books that tell you like how to storyboard and how to edit and how to use sound and how to direct and cinematography. I mean, they're fantastic. And this book, they touch upon Little Shop of Horrors by Roger Corman, Dementia 13 by Coppola, it's Cage Heat by Jonathan Demme, I think. Grand Theft Auto was Ron Howard, who I think is kind of a mediocre director for the most part. I only like a few of his movies. In the Company of Men by Neil LaBute. Night of the Living Dead by Romero, of course. Dark Star by John Carpenter. Shadows by John Cassavetes. Monty Python, the Holy Grail, of course, that's Terry Gilliam. And can't remember the other director. Eraserhead by David Lynch. Blair Witch Project, which I think is overrated, in my opinion. Sex, Lies, and Videotape by Steven Soderbergh, which I didn't really like at the time, but I've taken more of a shine to Soderbergh's movies. I love Che. I think that's a great movie. I guess I'm not really wild about Julia Roberts, but I did like Erin Brockovich. I thought that wasn't a bad movie. Anyway, Slacker by what's his name? Richard Linklater. El Mariachi by Robert Rodriguez. Clerks by Kevin Smith. So this they tell about how they. I think Primer's in here. I don't know. There's more mentioned in here. Sorry if I'm going on about this book, but it's a really good book. And if you want to know about low budget filmmaking and how you can make your film viable, how you can make it work, then this should be a pretty good inspiration. Pie's in here by what's his name, Aronofsky. I could swear I saw Primer in here. Maybe it's not in here, but I thought it was. Well, yeah, I thought I saw Primer, but I guess it's not in here. So, and by the way, Primer is a good movie. It was a movie shot for about $7,000, and it's kind of heavy intellectual movie, but it's very good. And another film that was made for $7,000, which is mentioned in this book, it was El Mariachi, and that's a good DVD to buy, or Blu-ray if you want to buy a Blu-ray of it. Next up, we got splatter flicks, how to make low-budget horror films. I don't know if there's any pictures in here. Well, there's a little bit of pictures. I have read this book, I believe. Yeah, I have read this. I think it was a very good read. Maybe even if you don't want to make horror movies, I think it'd be a pretty good read. Because like horror movies generally, well, not generally, but a lot of them are, or some of them at least, are done on low budgets, unless you're making The Shining or whatever, but or Alien maybe. But yeah, so you can learn how to make a film and do it on the cheap, and yeah, so it's pretty enjoyable to read. So I mean, some of these filmmaking books, even if you don't want to make movies, they're interesting books to read. Interesting books to read. I can't remember if I read this book or not. This book's about Luis Buñuel, critical biography by Francisco Aranda. It shows a clip from Un Chien Andalou, which he did as his first film with Salvador Dali. The pictures. A picture in here from L'Âge d'Or, The Golden Age, which was the second movie. Yeah, he's a good filmmaker. Two of his films I highly recommend, which are Belle de Jour, which means Beauty of the Day in French, and Viridiana. Belle de Jour has Catherine Deneuve in it, with Michelle Piccoli in it as a friend of her character's husband, and they're pretty big names in France. And then in Viridiana, you have Sylvia Pinel, who I think is Mexican, and she was in some of his movies, maybe a few of his Buñuel's movies. And Fernando Rey was in Viridiana. Fernando Rey was one of Buñuel's regulars. He was in The Discreet Charm of the Bourgeoisie, and he was on Viridiana, and he was in The Obscure Object of Desire. So, let me get a shot here of Buñuel directing. Get it. Here it is. This is him directing Viridiana. That's wait a minute. That's him right there. So that's Luis Buñuel. And now we come to the last pile. I know this is going on long, but it's a big box, and I want to just do it all in one. This is called Sinema, spelled Sinema, American Pornographic Films and the People Who Make Them. It's an old book, and I don't know if I can show any photos. Yeah, Russ Meyer's in here. Russ Meyer directed these films with big-breasted women. I haven't seen any of his films. Well, that's not true. I saw part of Fanny Hill. I didn't watch the whole thing. I don't know why. Sometimes I do that with movies. I don't watch the whole thing, but I'll watch I'll watch the whole thing at some point. And I have a criterion of his Beyond the Valley of the Dolls that, by the way, was co-written by Roger Ebert. And also I have another film of his called Faster Pussycat Kill Kill, with these big-breasted women who take advantage of these men. And yeah, he might have shot on low budgets too, if I'm not mistaken. Next up, we got a biography about Oliver Stone called The Controversies, Excesses, and Exploits of a Radical Filmmaker, Stone, by James Reardon. That name sounds familiar, James Reardon. Of course, Oliver Stone, to get funding to go to NYU, he chose the GI Bill, and because of that, in order for that to happen, to get funding, he had to go to Vietnam, and he made Platoon from his experiences. And me personally, for me, Platoon is the I haven't seen all the films about Vietnam. You know, for example, I haven't seen Casualties of War. I have not seen Gardens of Stone. I haven't seen Coming Home. But of the Vietnam films I have seen, I think Platoon is the best. Apocalypse Now is one of my favorite films of all time. I know it's set in Vietnam, but it's really a film about war. It's not really a film about Vietnam. It's more an art film, in my opinion. And also, Kubrick's my favorite director, as my channel name suggests. But Full Metal Jacket, I've mentioned this in previous videos. I only like the boot camp part and the sniper at the end. I think the middle of the film really sags. But it's not a total failure, but I think Platoon is the film about Vietnam. It's the one film that really shows Vietnam right way. Oliver Stone did The Doors, of course. I like The Doors. They're a good band. I don't know if I'm into them as much as I used to be, but they got me back into rock. But I didn't like Oliver Stone's depiction. Natural Born Killers, I liked it when I saw it. I don't know. Maybe I think it's kind of not confusing, overdone, too much media. I mean, it shows 16 millimeter and 8 millimeter video and Super 8 film and 35 millimeter and video and all that stuff. Maybe that fits the film. Maybe that fits the zeitgeist, the atmosphere of the movie and the time period, and it's displaying what that time period was like. I don't know. Maybe I should revise my opinion. Maybe Natural Born Killers isn't that bad a movie. And of course, he made JFK. JFK. I guess critics say, like Ebert, like, even if you don't believe the theories in the movie and you think those are crazy, it's like the paranoia is depicted very well in the film. Okay, so I'm almost done here. I've got 3 more books. This is a film. These are film scripts of Ivan the Terrible by Sergei Eisenstein. I have the Criterion Ivan the Terrible. With which comes with Alexander Nevsky. So, and I think Eisenstein was trying to like, it's kind of the most kind of intellectually dense movies of all time, they say, I guess, maybe. Look here, like this book's falling apart, but see, it's like a chessboard. Maybe the subjects of Ivan the Terrible are like chess pieces. You know, they're pawns. And of course, Ivan the Terrible is sort of like a reference to Stalin. And there's eyes that are painted on the walls, sort of like drawing reference to Stalin's secret police and people spying on each other to, nobody feeling safe. So, they say Eisenstein died of a heart attack, but who knows? I don't know. But, I mean, Ivan the Terrible is supposed to be in 3 parts. I think the 3rd part was supposed to be in color. I think they shot a little bit of the 3rd part, but it was never finished. And that got another Eisenstein book here. This is a shot-by-shot presentation of Eisenstein's Potemkin by David Mayer. Get a grip on that. But, just pictures. And, of course, that's a step sequence. They did a, what's his name? Brian De Palma did a homage to that in The Untouchables. And last but not least, we've got Spectacular Narratives, Hollywood in the Age of the Blockbuster. I probably should drink some water. I've been on for over 45 minutes. I thought I'd be on for 20, 30, but I decided to do the whole box. And thanks for staying with me on this video if you're here this far. This is the last one. So Spectacular Narratives, Hollywood in the Age of the Blockbuster by I.B. Torres. Oh, no. Jeff King. I don't know. Jeff King. Don't know if there's any pictures. Looks like there is not. Okay, so that finishes this box. Stay on the lookout. Maybe I'll do another video tomorrow. Today's Friday, and I think I'll load this up onto YouTube tonight. So thanks for watching. I appreciate all the comments. I appreciate you watching all my videos. Not to make this video any longer, but just to say a few things. I'm going to plug my other videos. I've got poetry on here. I've got a short film that I'd like to make. I don't know when I'll make it or if I'll make, well, whatever. But it's called The Cost of Love, and it's a storyboard to show like what the film would look like if it was made with voiceover narration, sound effects, and music. So, and then I've done some music on GarageBand. It's not really me composing the music. It's just me taking loops from the GarageBand program and joining them together and creating music out of that. I've got my videos of all my movies, Blu-rays and DVDs, and then I have a few rest in peace things, Roger Moore, Jonathan Demme. I've got a few things where I say various things like Brendan Gleeson should have been nominated for Oscar for the movie Cavalry, So that's enough. I gotta get off. You're probably sick and tired of all this. Maybe not. I don't know. But anyways, that's the end of the video. And be on the lookout. I'll be back. And thanks for watching. Bye.